Hello there. I know that many of you have enjoyed my last IGTV sharing with you my journey into the fashion world, and as promised, I want to share with you some of the practical, just actionable items that you can do to get into the fashion industry, which is a very competitive one, rightfully so. A lot of people are passionate about fashion, but my advice here, I think, span across any industry. If you want to get into PR, communication, to store planning, building stores, to financial Wall Street jobs, like it doesn't matter what your path is, but I think these actionable points are exactly what I did to get into the fashion industry. I am wearing a beautiful Balinese dress by Journey on Lovely, super lovely brand. I'm just loving it so much because it's just so comfortable. Anyway, so a few common themes that I have noticed based on my experience. You know, I've had a few jobs now in the luxury world, and I think there are a few common themes about finding the right job for yourself and landing that role. Number one, location, location, location. It's not saying that, you know, you need to live in New York City, you must live here. There are plenty of jobs that have, you know, relocated you from LA, from Seattle, wherever, to a specific destination. It is true, but it is just a little bit more challenging for the recruiter to, you know, have you in here. I think that unless the specific profile is super limited, and also if you have been, you know, if you have established yourself in a career that, you know, let's say you're the most sought after retail VP or like CEO, CFO, they will bring you in and relocate you, for example. But for some of the more entry-level jobs, probably not. Maybe consulting jobs, but because it's absolutely an investment for the company to bring somebody on board, you know, flying somebody and then putting them in the hotel. So location is definitely important. Number two, the common theme is really finding the right role, the right fit for yourself. It's very important. Number three, networking. It's all about who you know. I can't stress enough this point. I don't care what you say. My true belief is it's really about who you know. Because when somebody know you and like you, they're more likely to vouch for you. They're more likely to pass on your resume and push for you within the organization, because when somebody is recommending you, it's their face on the board as well. Like if you end up don't performing at work, they're gonna be like, well, Francis recommended him or her. So it's very much more your credibility as well. So I think, you know, from networking, people are going to get a sense of how your personality is, you know, what you may be like. Maybe they don't know about your work ethics, but if you put your best foot forward, people are going to be more likely to recommend you. Number four, these are so important. Drive, passion, being persistent, not just giving up after if you try. Keep driving forward. That's probably one of the most common characteristics from successful people, is that they don't just give up. And the last point is being humble. Myself included, I think that a lot of younger people now, like Generation Z or Millennium like myself, feel entitled, like we know everything and we are this good and we should have this and we should have that now. True, I'm not saying that you must work at a certain company for like above whatever years to get promoted, but your job and yourself needs to warn yourself that. And sometimes people will come off a little bit entitled, and when you're finding a job, people don't like that. And so those are some common themes that I have noticed that will put you kind of ahead of the game. The actual interview skills and amazing resume will take you this far, but your characteristic and personality will take you that far, and maybe that will just be what it takes to get you that job. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of what I did specifically. So location. The number one thing that I did was moving from LA to New York. When I was 27, I mean, I've been working for a few years, but still, you know, relatively junior. I knew I wasn't gonna get a job in New York in fashion world in some of the more luxury brand, the top luxury brand. It just wasn't gonna happen. So I made the move to New York. I think if you are in an entry-level job, more junior, if you're able to, moving to that location will increase your likelihood of getting an interview, getting a job, being hired that much more. So that's number one, actionable items that I did. Number two, finding the right job for yourself, but balancing between casting your nest too wide versus having a targeted stream. What do I mean by that? When I first started, I just was like, okay, I'm only gonna apply for the specific job in finance function and only applying to the luxury brand, like only Chanel, only LVMH, only. And then I realized, you know what? That was too narrow. Like it wasn't, like I knew I wasn't gonna get it right away. And maybe my dream job won't happen that quickly. Sometimes it takes a few steps. Like for me, it took a few years before I land that role. So being able to, you know, cast your net wide enough yet still target it. What I mean by that is, for example, I wanted to be in the fashion retail essentially. So search for retail roles. It doesn't matter if you're doing the middle market. It doesn't matter if you're doing cosmetic. There's a theme in common. It's retail, commercial for customers. So it could be makeup, it could be jewelry, it could be perfume, it could be watches, it could be jeans, whatever it is. If your passion and the role that you want to do is in the fashion industry, any of those spectrum will work. And obviously, if you're trying to find a PR role and then you end up finding some role in being an engineer, it just isn't going to work. So find something that actually your experience can, you know, actually add to it, not like completely randomly dotting and sending your resume without any goal in mind. So that's number two. I very much, you know, casted my net wide enough yet narrow just to retail, not just to the highest top brands, but also some of the middle market, as long as it's relating to the retail world. Number three, networking. As I mentioned earlier, remember to network. If you are introvert, I'm sorry to break the news to you. Maybe you're able to find that dream job and that's good for you, but if you're struggling and want to do that, I urge you to network. Even though you don't like to speak to people, try to get yourself out there. Because when you talk to people, you will learn so many interesting things, especially here in New York and some of the bigger metropolitan cities. Like, you learn all walks of life, and you never know who they know and who their family may know and where they're working. And so this is where the magic happens. For me, I network. I always meet new friends, talk to them, and remember, be genuine, be humble. Don't just, and I see a lot of people just try to, and I actually, it's a pet peeve of mine, almost like asking questions like, well, what do you have to offer? I want to take what you have. That's not the approach. Like, people usually don't like that, and usually people see through your bullshit. I do, at least. I try to see what I can offer them. What can I do that any other people can't do? And be just genuine and listen and be interested in what they're saying. And so, yeah, like, just, I think that's super important. Networking and telling people what you would like to do, but without being forceful. Immediately asking, can you get me a job there? Can you put my resume in? I think sometimes people get a little, like, you know, offish, like myself included, but show me what you can offer first. And then I'll see if I want to pass on your resume, because the truth is, again, as I mentioned earlier, I don't want to put my neck out there and recommend you if I don't know that you're good, right? So network, be genuine, listen, and be interested instead of interesting yourself. Number 4, understanding, basically customizing your resume and your cover letter, every single one of them. There are so many people I know needs probably resume training in terms of writing and etc., but just cast out like one version of resume to multiple jobs. Sorry, that's my alarm, knowing that it's almost 10 minutes. Knowing that there's just multiple jobs and they're just using one resume, it's not gonna work. If it works for you, good for you, but if you really want a specific dream job, you really gotta show your resume has been tailored, because people like that. And HR people see through that, absolutely. It is absolutely crucial that your resume and cover letter is customized, because believe me, I've worked with plenty of recruiter, and I also work with HR in my own organization. The way they screen resume, 3-second rules. If you don't impress them in 3 seconds, I know you spend a lot of time and maybe even money to have people like trying to help you with your resume writing. You have only 3 seconds. It's toss or keep, toss or keep. So your resume needs to be top sharp, like sharp, really like catering to every single job. What I do is every single job description, let's say you have 10 of them, read carefully every single bullet point, exactly what you're asking for. Too often I think that people, sometimes I do this too, but I'm trying more and more now that I'm progressing in my career to listen and read. Too many people don't do that. People don't read. Don't read carefully. Exactly, what are you asking? For people like to apply for a job, casting just a general resume, people smell it and see it, you're done. So when you look at the job description, read through carefully, top to bottom, bottom to top, exactly what are qualifications they're asking for, what is the experience they're asking for, what are the technical skills specifically they're asking for, and then what are some of the soft skills they're asking for, like stakeholder management, like time management, change management, whatever the case it may be. Tailor your resume, but don't bullshit in your resume because they will catch it right away and you're done. Use your experience and drop it in the way where it is a transferable skills, even though there may not be specifically you did that exact same project because it's impossible, but the skill set is what they're looking for. For example, let's say they're looking for stakeholder management skills, like how you work across all organizations. Okay, in my job in the past, I have worked on X project and I worked with 5 departments. So what exactly did you do with the 5 departments and what is the results? Results driven. So that's how you need to cater your resume into their specific ask, because it's a question. Are you the right profile for me? Are you the right candidate for me? And then the interview is just, to be honest, checking if you really have those skills and a personality fit into the culture. So tailoring your resume and cover letter and not just give a generic, if you really want a job and has been trying and trying, maybe try this. And finally, it's the interview. That is, you have made it that far, congratulations, you've got the interview because you probably have passed a phone interview. I can't tell you enough. Preparation, preparation, and preparation. Research the company. Don't just go into the interview without knowing anything, because you know what, people may ask you, what is our company about? Do you know about our mergers? Did you know about this thing that happened recently? What do you think about that? You can't bullshit that, obviously. So you need to research the company, the background, the history, the stakeholders, and if there's been some financial like mergers and acquisition, what is the impact? Read the news. Understand the company. Also, you know, if you're passionate about the industry in fashion, know the fashion industry really well because it will serve you well. So when you prepare for the interview, what I did was I researched the companies, I researched for that job, some of the things that I mentioned, and also I prepared for the interview. I literally have a spreadsheet that I have like probably a 60 pages interview notes that I prepared myself throughout the lifetime, like 10 years of working. I craft every single question and I would answer. I would type it up. I have 50 pages of it. And I would repeat, and my fiance is incredible because when I'm interviewing for jobs, I would ask him to prepare me. I would sit in front of a mirror, practice myself until I am so flawless, but not rehearsing. Remember, don't rehearse. Just remember the high points, bullet points. Don't read off a script because you just sound like a robot. You know, like right now I'm talking to you, but I only wrote bullet points and I just talked to it. It shows that you know your subject very well. Instead of saying, hi guys, I'm here because it just doesn't vibe off well. So my advice to you is really write down everything and don't blob on. Sometimes I do that too, but focus in what the question is. If that person asks you, please tell me about yourself, you need to, that is your elevator pitch. A lot of people say this, elevator pitch, 30 seconds to a minute. What have you done? Where are you trying to go? And why are you here today? be focused. Don't talk about your personal things. Like it's not, you know, it's not a personal session there. So very focused. Answer exactly what they're telling you. So preparing, sometimes type it out. Like I really recommend it. If you really want to bang your interview like with an ace, prepare every single question. Think about all the possibility of questions they would ask you, answer it. Remember the bullet points. Practice makes perfect. Practice in front of the mirror. Sometimes I'm practicing in front of the mirror. When I first started recruiting in college, I literally have never had a job before, and I would practice in front of my dorm mirror for days until I know what I'm talking about, because frankly, I had no experience back then. Like I don't know what I was talking about. So, and then the economy tanked, you know, I needed a job, obviously, really, really badly, you know. So, and I was afraid that I wasn't gonna get any job because the economy was so bad. So I prepared myself so well that I know I will impress them, blow them out of the water. And then find somebody who you trust. Don't be embarrassed, don't be afraid. Sometimes it will take some time to adapt, and my fiance probably have seen my progression in being timid, and now he asked me a question, bam. He asked me a question, bam. It needs to be like this. Confidence, because it just vibes out. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I did. In the next video, I want to show you what questions or things that you could do in preparation for the interview, like specifically how to dress, maybe, and how to prepare, and then how to follow up, and etc. So thanks so much for watching my IG video. Hope you like it.